Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. Dallas police are investigating what appears to be an unprovoked attack at a downtown Dallas intersection. Fox 4 obtained surveillance video of the attack. A woman is waiting at an intersection when a man comes up from behind and strikes her. She falls to the ground, and he casually walks away. Fox 4's David Centenary in downtown tonight with more. David.
Yeah, it is being called an unprovoked attack. In that video, it is brutal to watch, and it happened at 1:15 in the afternoon. Video obtained by Fox 4 shows a man using some sort of object to slam a woman over the head in downtown Dallas Thursday afternoon. The woman drops to the ground. The attacker continues on his way, crossing the street, appearing as if nothing happened.
We don't need stuff like this going on in downtown Dallas.
Noah Robertson lives and works in the neighborhood.
I've never seen somebody just hit somebody and walk away like nothing happened.
Especially someone who at least appears to not know the other person.
Yeah, I mean, that lady's just standing there and that guy hits her for absolutely no reason. That's crazy.
The crime happened at the intersection of Elm and Field Street. Downtown Dallas Inc., the nonprofit that hires security in the area, calls this an unprovoked attack and says security officers were on scene moments after it happened. The victim was transported to a local hospital. Dallas Police Department is not saying what her condition is or if it has leads on a possible suspect.
Well, you know, obviously things like that are profoundly disturbing.
Lori Smith is visiting Dallas for the weekend. She says the video reveals a sad reflection of a crisis seen in communities across the country.
Where people are so disturbed that they just are possessed to do something like that.
Downtown is usually pretty cool, but I have seen some crazy stuff down here. It gets wild down here at night for sure.
But this crime took place during violent daytime hours in downtown Dallas. It was just blocks away, the same afternoon, where someone shot 3 people in an apartment building. There's no way to connect the 2 attacks, but they both happened in the middle of the day, right around lunchtime.
Honestly, I can't believe it. It makes me feel kind of unsafe. I'm going to be watching my back now.
Downtown Dallas Inc. says it is working with Dallas Police Department in hopes of identifying that suspect. When we were in that area earlier today, we did notice a handful of additional security cameras, ones that were not the camera that showed that video in the story. We'll keep you updated when we learn more information. But for now, Heather, Steve.
A lot of unanswered questions after 3 people were shot in a downtown Dallas high-rise apartment building late this afternoon. One of the victims was a Dallas ISD student, and police have not said what they think led to the shooting. Fox 4's David Centenary spoke with people who heard and saw what happened. He's in downtown Dallas tonight. David.
Yeah, Steve, as of now, police have not said a whole lot, but it's obviously very early in the investigation. We know, though, no arrests have been made and no suspect or suspects have been identified. 3 people were shot inside the Continental Building, a high-rise apartment building in downtown Dallas, Thursday afternoon.
I had heard shots on my floor.
Carol Lee Padilla was on the phone with a friend while inside her apartment.
And then I heard a faint screaming, and that's when I'm like, Felicia, do you hear this? And she's like, no, honey, what's going on? I said, hold on, and I just opened my door.
That's when she says she saw one of the victims.
And I peeked my head out the door, my door, and a man was walking towards me with his, holding his gut saying, help me, I've been shot.
All 3 victims were taken to local hospitals for medical treatment.
One of the 3 victims is a Dallas ISD student, according to the district. The 3rd student in the district to have been shot while off campus in less than a week. No further details about the victim were provided.
I'm terrified because it's always something going on here now. 42 years, I've never lived like this, ever.
Jamelia Thurman says it's common to see young people and others causing trouble in the building.
And it's always conflict. They always in a hallway. It's gambling, it's fights. It's a lot that goes on here.
Police gave very few updates in a brief press conference where they took no questions.
Because it's an open investigation, I will not be taking any questions.
They did not say what led to the shooting, where exactly it happened in the building, how many people and how many weapons were involved.
I don't like it because we pay all this rent, but there's nothing I can do about it.
They had the elevator shut down. We had to walk down the stairs, couldn't go into the parking garage.
Tenants were forced to evacuate the building for several hours while police collected evidence. One tenant shared photos with Fox 4 appearing to show a hole near her apartment wall from a stray bullet.
I open my window, I look outside, I see police and everything.
Dallas PD tells us within the last hour that all 3 shooting victims are stable. As for the one who's a student, Dallas ISD tells us that that student is expected to make a full recovery.
3 people, including a teenage minor, are charged with capital murder.
Police say they lured a young man from Bedford to East Texas in order to rob him. His body was found in the trunk of a vehicle. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager spoke with the victim's family members and joins us now live. Peyton.
Steve and Heather, I spoke with Cameron Anderson's mother on the phone today. She is not ready to speak publicly, and she's still grieving the loss of her son. But she believes that her son went out to East Texas to meet up with a girl. That's where investigators say 3 people were waiting to rob him. Cameron Anderson's mother tells Fox 4 her son left this Bedford apartment complex on the evening of August 31st. And that was the last time she would ever see him. Hours later, on September 1st, the 20-year-old's body was found in the trunk of his burned vehicle more than 150 miles away in East Texas. An autopsy revealed Anderson had 2 fatal gunshot wounds. The 20-year-old graduated from Trinity High School in Euless and then enrolled in Blinn College. He moved back to Bedford, where his family lives. 3 people are now charged with Anderson's murder. 18-year-old Nathaniel Hall, Hall's girlfriend, 21-year-old Jasmine Williams, and an unnamed 16-year-old. On August 31st, investigators say Anderson was texting Jasmine Williams, who was using Hall's phone, the entire drive east from Bedford to Troop, Texas, 20 miles outside of Tyler. According to an arrest warrant affidavit Fox 4 obtained on Tuesday, cell phone records placed both Anderson and Hall's cell phones on the rural Rusk County road where the burning car was located. Once in custody, deputies say Hall made a phone call from jail to his sister, telling her to, quote, clean up. Detectives interviewed Hall's sister, and she said the night of the murder, the 3 suspects talked about doing a rip, which means to rob someone. Hall's sister also told investigators she heard at least 2 gunshots coming from the back of the home that night. Hall's sister later admitted to detectives she cleaned up casings from the shooting and later threw the casings out the window while she was driving. Over the weekend, the sheriffs from both Smith County and Rusk County held a joint press conference, vowing to continue their pursuit for justice.
We're going to work extremely hard for them so they can be able to look these accusers in the face when that day comes in trial.
Investigators also say when Hall was arrested, he was in possession of a handgun and also an AR-15. Both were determined to be stolen. Investigators add that bullets from the crime scene matched the loaded bullets that were inside of the stolen AR-15.
2 people inside a stolen daycare bus led Fort Worth police on a 20-mile chase into Grand Prairie. That bus had been stolen over the weekend from a daycare in Arlington. Cell phone video captured some of the chase as it entered a Grand Prairie neighborhood. It eventually came to an end in an alley. 2 people were arrested. The daycare's owner says she has the van back and that it was trashed. Fox 4's Amelia Jones is at the Arlington Police Department tonight. Amelia.
Steve, when the daycare owner got the call that the bus had been found, she hoped that it was in good condition. Unfortunately, it wasn't. She says that she believes that someone had been living in it and they caused significant damage in the short time they had it.
It shook up the neighborhood. All the neighbors came out and were looking and saying, "This is crazy, what's going on?"
Around 2:30 Monday afternoon, Crystal Powell saw something she never expected in her Grand Prairie neighborhood. A daycare bus leading Fort Worth police on a chase.
There were 6 cops chasing him. Yeah, it was a lot.
Fort Worth police say officers tried to pull the bus over since it was reported stolen from Tender Love Childcare in Arlington. When the driver refused, a chase started at East Berry Street in Fort Worth and ended on Silver Trail in Grand Prairie. Police arrested 2 people who were inside the bus.
I'm still so confused and in shock because out of 6 years, we never had a bus stolen, van stolen from us.
The daycare owner, Belinda Langley, says the buses and vans are used to take kids to and from school. Staff told Arlington police they saw the bus parked in the back of the daycare on Friday. By Saturday morning, it was gone. After Langley got the call that the bus had been found, her reaction went from joy to disappointment when she saw the condition it was left in.
A lot of clothes, baby formula, just different food, just all kinds of trash in there, alcohol, just whatever you want to think of. They just had moved up in there.
She believes someone was living in it.
Seats got to be replaced, air conditioning got to be taken care of. And I don't know how we're going to replace that, get that paint off of there.
What she couldn't believe was the chase. So we showed her the video.
That's crazy.
And she's grateful no one was hurt.
I just thank God no kids was on there. The most important thing to me is to make sure the kids are all safe at all times.
The daycare does have security cameras. An employee told me that the only prior incidents they've had is people stealing catalytic converters from the buses and vans. We're still waiting to learn the name of the 2 people arrested and the charges they're facing. Steve, back to you.
All right, Amelia Jones in Arlington. Amelia, thanks. Authorities are searching for a fugitive wanted for murdering a mother of 4, Samuel Tovar. Authorities believe he may be hiding out in Mexico. He's a Mexican national. Last week, Mesquite police say he shot and killed Nancy Ayala in her Mesquite home and then disappeared. Fox 4's David Centennial has the latest on the search. David.
Well, there's no telling if that suspect is still in North Texas, but family of the victim believes he might be on his way or already in Mexico.
She was like my sister. She was not just my cousin, she was more like my sister, my best friend.
Nancy Ayala, a mother of 4, was shot while some of her children were home with her inside her apartment in Mesquite last week. Police identified her long-term boyfriend, Samuel Tovar, a father of one of her kids, as the suspect. Tovar is on the run.
They had arguments, but it was just like, you know, any other couple that has disagreements.
Ayala's cousin, who does not want to show her face, showed Fox 4 home surveillance video from Ayala's apartment. It's too graphic to broadcast, but here's a screenshot of the apparent suspect holding a gun.
It got to the point where he was beating on her, pointing his gun at her, dragging her.
Ayala was shot outside the door entrance. Video from another apartment shows police on scene. After the shooting, Ayala fought for her life for nearly a week.
It's been very heavy.
She died, however, in a hospital Saturday.
We still had faith that she was going to pull through just because of how long she was fighting.
A law enforcement source tells Fox 4 Tovar is a Mexican national. Ayala's family says he's originally from a Mexican village 900 miles away from North Texas.
He's not a citizen from here. He's from San Luis Potosí, specifically Bocas.
Is there concern that he could be crossing the border because of those connections?
Yes. We believe he has connections and he has friends and family that will probably more than likely help him get to the border and to his hometown.
So while Ayala's family hopes to heal, that cannot begin until her alleged killer is caught.
Because he needs to pay for what he did.
Anyone with information about this case and, most importantly, the whereabouts of Tovar is asked to contact Mesquite Police Department. For now, Heather, Steve, I'll send it back to y'all.
All right, David Centendry, thank you.
The family of a Dallas middle school student who was hit and killed on his way to school is calling for safety changes. Good evening, I'm Clarice Tinsley. They want justice for the reckless behavior that killed Jonathan Ayala, and they want more protection for students walking to school. Fox 4's Lori Brown is live in Dallas. Lori.
Clarice, in this unusual case, it is the passenger and not the driver facing a murder charge. And today we learned that the passenger has been in trouble with the law before.
One day he wanted to be a football player, next month he wanted to be a boxer, next month he wanted to play soccer, next month, you know, who knows what else he wanted to do.
Elias Ayala never imagined a brief conversation Friday morning with his little brother would be his last. Jonathan Ayala had just turned 14 years old.
I was out of town for his birthday. I told him that I even told my mom that we was going to take him out on Saturday.
Dallas police say at 7:57 in the morning, a driver lost control on South Marsalis Avenue at East Ledbetter Drive. According to an arrest affidavit, James Grant, a passenger, demanded money from the driver, attempted to reach into her purse, and then hit her in the face. She lost control and hit and killed Jonathan. Elias Ayala also spoke for his mother, who speaks Spanish.
Yeah, I think both of them should be charged because, I mean, if you're behind the wheel, you're responsible for driving and always being aware of your surroundings.
The driver stopped at the scene. The passenger ran away. Police found him at a nearby bus stop and charged him with murder. Jonathan's family hope his story can be a wake-up call to drivers and also the city. They say this section of Marsalis is dangerous for the many kids walking to and from school about a half-mile away. There is no curb to protect pedestrians.
See if they could do a sidewalk there or something so it could be safer for not just kids, you know, everybody.
Grant had previous run-ins with the law. Public records show his charges include assault of a public servant and aggravated robbery. And he also had an active warrant out of Austin for possession of a controlled substance. A GoFundMe set up for Jonathan's funeral expenses has raised $13,000.
You never get to say goodbye to a person or tell them how much you love them until it's too late.
Bowd Story Middle School is planning to have a community meeting Thursday at 4:30 p.m., followed by a balloon release.
Prosecutors in New York indicted a Dallas man for luring two teenagers into sex trafficking, even going so far as to have his nickname tattooed on their foreheads. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager has details from the indictment and is live. Peyton.
Steve, and the suspect is being held at Rikers Island in New York without bail, and we're still working to learn his relation here to Dallas. It's still unclear where he lived here in Dallas. We do know that he lured two teenagers through social media to meet up with him before they took off to New York.
Who knows what he said? But I can guarantee you that he didn't say, I'm going to take you for a horrific journey and you're going to be abused and branded.
According to New York investigators, an appalling and inhumane 2 weeks for two Texas teenagers started on Instagram, where Bianca Davis of Dallas's New Friends, New Life believes the befriending began.
Anytime a woman or a girl gets out, it's an absolute miracle.
29-year-old Donald Roberson of Dallas went before a Brooklyn judge Wednesday on a 17-count indictment, including sex trafficking of a child, assault, sexual abuse, possession of a weapon, and promoting prostitution. New York courts do not release mugshots until after a conviction. Prosecutors say Roberson drove a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old from North Texas to New York and forced them to work as prostitutes. Roberson allegedly put the two teenagers up in a hotel and had his nickname Blue Cheese tattooed on both of their faces, a tactic called branding.
They don't see these victims as human beings. It's property. They are a commodity.
Prosecutors say Roberson also committed violent acts against the teens. The 17-year-old told investigators Roberson, quote, punched her in the face, kicked her in the face, causing her to suffer a seizure, and stabbed her in the side with a pair of scissors. At one point, one of the victims had an infection and was taken to the hospital. After she was released, Roberson allegedly choked her.
I feel like some of our viewers will see that and be like, how is she back out there?
There are things that hospital workers can look for. Is she not able to answer her own questions? Does she not have identification? Can she not explain her injuries or bruises?
On August 23rd, prosecutors say the 17-year-old tried to hide in the suspect's vehicle, but Roberson shattered a car window and then took a torch lighter to her leg and burned her. The teenager managed to text someone in Texas the address they were at. New York police officers found her, the 18-year-old, and arrested Roberson on scene.
And Steve, it's still unclear if Roberson was part of a bigger network of prostitution or if he has other victims. That's still under investigation. He's due in court in New York next month in October.
Police say a teenage girl shot her own grandmother and then got into a shootout with responding officers. The grandmother survived. She was holding her 2-year-old grandchild who was not injured. It all happened overnight in Kennedale. That's near Fort Worth. Fox 4's Dion Anglin joins us now after talking to the police chief about what happened. Dion.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. Disturbing incident. Kennedale police investigating a teenager with a shotgun. A girl who used that weapon to shoot her own grandmother and then fire at officers.
She had a shotgun.
Right. We don't know whose shotgun it was.
A 17-year-old girl with a shotgun. The chief of Kennedale Police Department says the teenager shot and injured her grandmother, then exchanged gunfire with the police officers who were trying to defuse their disturbance. It all happened when the teen, Jaslyn Renfro, who lives at the Alta Landing apartment complex, called 911, threatening to shoot someone inside their residence. Officers, when they arrived, saw the teen's grandmother with the teen's 2-year-old brother on the apartment balcony. We're hoping that we're going to just have the grandmother come out with the toddler and just have a conversation and find out what's going on. And of course, it took a totally different turn. Police say the grandmother reached the bottom of a stairwell apartment exit, and that's when Renfro fired, striking her grandmother in the back. Her 2-year-old brother was not injured. As soon as they heard the first gunshot, obviously they wanted to take action. The door came open. We believe that the victim opened the door, thankfully. So the officers were able to start trying to extract her from that doorway. As they were trying to remove her and the 2-year-old, the suspect continued to fire at the officers. Chief Holguin says it's unclear how many times Renfro fired the weapon, possibly as many as 3 shots. That's when a standoff began, which ended quickly. We started setting up the typical barricaded person type of situation, and we still, again, haven't had a chance to really have a conversation with the suspect, but she eventually, by her own fruition, just gave up. She came out, she put her hands up and surrendered. The chief says there were 3 officers on the scene. 2 of them discharged their weapons during the exchange. Those officers, as per routine, have been placed on leave as the investigation plays out.
Now, the teenager at 17 is considered an adult legally, and now she is facing charges of attempted murder as well as aggravated assault on a peace officer. It's the very latest live. Steve, back to you.
All right, understood, Dion. Thank you.
A 16-year-old is charged with murder in a shooting that killed a Dallas ISD high school football player Friday. 17-year-old David Washington was shot and killed in the Redbird area of Dallas Friday night. Dallas ISD says he was a senior in the district. Fox 4's Amelia Jones live with the latest in the investigation. Amelia?
Blake, Dallas ISD says that 17-year-old David Washington was a senior here at Kimball High School. The district said he played on the football team. According to Dallas police, Friday night, following a Duncanville season opener win, there was a large gathering at the Love's gas station across the street from Kincaid Football Stadium on Polk Street. The Dallas ISD varsity football schedule shows that Duncanville played South Oak Cliff at the stadium on Friday night. Police say around 10:50 p.m., the group of people started following 17-year-old David Washington, and then a fight started. Someone pulled out a gun during the fight and shot Washington. He was taken to a hospital where he later died. On Saturday, Dallas police arrested a 16-year-old and charged them with murder. Dallas City Councilman for District 8, where the shooting happened, says he wants to create a safe zone for kids in that area.
I think right now I'm going to reach out to Chief Martinez and Chief Garcia and see how can we put a safe zone there, because football season going up, it's kind of getting out of hand right now. And when you lose a life there, you want to blame everyone, but let this be a lesson that how can we solve the problem going forward.
We don't have any information on if Washington went to the football game on Friday night. We also don't know if he knew anyone in the group of people following him. We don't have any information on the 16-year-old shooter since they're a juvenile. According to a community post on social media, there's a balloon release planned for Washington here at the high school on Monday night. Blake, back to you.
All right, Amelia.
Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia today explained to reporters and the public the actions that led to an officer-involved shooting Saturday night that killed a man in northwest Dallas. Fox 4's Sean Rabb is in downtown Dallas tonight with more. Sean.
Yeah, Steve, a man who may have been intoxicated or may have been under the influence of something else. What we do know is that 911 callers and police thought he had a real gun, but it wasn't.
Hay un hombre con una pistola que quiere entrar. Yo vivo en el apartamento.
911 callers in Spanish and English bring Dallas police officers Mohammed Rizvi and Corey Adams to 3131 Norwalk, northwest Dallas, Saturday night about 8:15.
Right now, looking at the window, he's beating the door with the gun itself. He cocked it.
26-year-old Domingo Papan is the man on the second-floor balcony with what was reported to be a gun.
I think he's under the influence, too, because he was having trouble going up the stairs.
I mean, it's early in the investigation, but obviously one of the witnesses that saw him laboring up the stairs thought that he may have been, under the influence of something, of alcohol or something. But again, as the tox comes back, I'm sure we'll find that out. He may have thought, I think his brother lived in the area, but he didn't know anybody that was in that apartment.
The officers proceed cautiously, eventually spot him and give commands in both languages.
Hey, cover your hands. Put your hands up.
Manos!
Manos!
Papan starts walking towards the top of the stairs. Officers yell.
No!
Police freeze and highlight the video. You can see what looks like the butt of a gun in his waistband. The officers open fire. As they prepare to administer first aid, one officer expresses what he's feeling out loud.
Damn it, dude. When it shows up like that and you see it just raw like that, that's how my officers feel. I'm gonna kick the gun.
It would be later when police would learn this gun Pop Pam had was not real.
I don't know how you can try to Monday morning quarterback when the officers truly think it's a firearm at that point. Again, so this is not a second guessing in the least bit, like on our part. These officers felt, based on the call, based on the suspect's actions, based on what he produced, the officers thought that was a real firearm.
The other officer asking a question that will never be answered.
Why'd you pull the gun, man?
The critical incident, hours after the department laid Officer Darren Burks to rest, who'd been executed, as he said in his patrol car 9 days earlier.
When we sit here and you see this body cam, those officers weren't. Those officers, one, didn't know that was a replica firearm. They thought it was a real firearm. And you heard, this is not the outcome that my men and women want, and you can't fake that. And so, yeah, it's tough on them, whether they went to the services or not that morning, but that was definitely a rough day.
So the reference by Chief Eddie Garcia in our reporting, he talked about we'll wait for tox to come back to determine if Domingo Papan was under some kind of influence. He's referring to toxicology tests. This is the 6th Dallas police officer-involved shooting this year.
All right, Sean Rabb, right outside Dallas Police Headquarters. Sean, police across North Texas are sending a warning to those making school threats after a recent series of threats caused problems at North Texas schools. This week alone, we've seen students arrested and even a full school district canceled classes for the day because of school threats. Police say they are mostly fake, copied and pasted from other similar threats that are happening at many schools, but it's enough to keep campuses on alert. And Fox 4's Peyton Yeager has the message tonight from authorities. Peyton.
Steve, and one of the challenges vetting these threats, the school districts then work with local police departments to vet these threats and also call in the FBI for assistance. Now, each threat has to be investigated, causing North Texas school districts to respond differently this week.
It's scary. It is scary because you don't know when it's going to happen.
Edna Nunez explains the discomfort dropping her children off at Byrd Middle School in Duncanville especially this week.
Everybody has a phone, and with a phone, they can do a lot of things.
I wouldn't say it's an increase or decrease. I just believe that we're more aware of it.
Duncanville ISD called a press conference Wednesday saying it's seen a concerning number of reports of school threats via social media.
Nothing directly toward Duncanville ISD. Now, the threats that we were receiving is something that's being recycled through local communities, is basically copy and paste at this point.
Duncanville investigators believe there's no threat, and it's part of a growing trend sweeping across North Texas and the state. But they're still taking every tip seriously. As a precautionary measure, Duncanville parents like Michelle Dewberry will see an increased police and security presence.
Fortunately for us, I'm thankful that we haven't had any lockdowns.
Tuesday, however, DeSoto High School went into temporary lockdown. A 16-year-old former student was arrested off campus and charged with a third-degree felony. This caused some DeSoto athletic events to be canceled or postponed. In Kaufman County, Kemp ISD canceled school altogether Wednesday to investigate an online threat. The district determined the threat wasn't credible, so schools will be back open on Thursday. At Royce City High School, a 15-year-old student is now charged with making a terroristic threat after police say he posted that he may bring a bomb to an after-school assembly. Police say the student admitted to posting the threat, but said he never planned on carrying it out. Over in Fort Worth, Southwest High School, Rosemont Middle School, and Wedgwood Middle School all received threats this week. Fort Worth PD posted on X Wednesday, reminding students they will be arrested whether the threat is real or fake.
Also today, Dallas ISD posted a statement on social media saying it too is aware of these threats also here in Dallas, but they say that none of the threats here in Dallas were credible, but parents should see an increase in police officers on Dallas campuses.
Mansfield police need your help to track down the person who broke into a Zales jewelry store earlier this month. Video is not the best, but detectives hope someone knows him. Fox 4's Sean Rabb takes us there.
We are in Mansfield, US 287 and Debbie Lane. With me, Detective Luis de Damaso. And Detective, what happened here earlier this month?
Yeah, Sean. So on September 3rd at 6:30 in the morning, we got a burglary alarm here at the Zales. Officers arrived and they noticed that there was glass broken out from the east side of the building. They made entry into the building and cleared it and realized that one of the display cases had been broken into.
Tell me about your video. It's kind of dark, it's kind of grainy, but what about it?
Yeah, so it is kind of dark and grainy, but you can see that there's an individual wearing black tight pants with white shoes, as well as a sweater with the hood on it. He's wearing a mask and white gloves. He makes entry into it. He's real wiry. He moves really quickly through the store. He's carrying a white bag. He has that bag set up in front of him as he's getting some of the jewelry out. He's placing it into the bag.
So we can't see him, but you know, sir, that somebody knows what happened here.
Yes, absolutely, Sean. We believe that, you know, with the products that he had taken out of here, he's either sold them on the market somewhere or he's given them away to somebody. So somebody knows what happened to the jewelry from the store.
And what do you need somebody to do?
Need somebody to come forward. Let us know if they know something, if they have any information on who might have been made entry into the store, to give us a call and help us out.
Tell me, Detective, how can folks reach you?
So they can reach me either by my email. It's going to be louis.dtomaso@mansfieldtexas.gov, or you can reach me at my office number is 817-276-4744.
And even though we can't see him, might be hard, but it's not hopeless.
No, sir, it is not.
Who is the guy breaking into this Zales? Get at Detective Luis de Damaso, the Mansfield Police Department. Get at him, his email or his phone. Help find the man responsible for breaking in, burglarizing the Zales here in Mansfield.